Hello, welcome back. I can't believe I am making this video, finally, and that's because it has been 1 year since I stopped drinking alcohol. I don't know why I said it like that. Alcohol. And yeah, I figured we could talk about it. I am wearing my little strawberry shortcake shirt, strawberry shortcake, and pajamas because, I just can't be bothered today. It's one of those sleepy days where I'm just taking it easy. We don't have to get ready fully today. But this morning I wrote some notes about what has changed for me in this year. And I will give you a little background as far as why I decided to stop drinking for a year. And I will tell you about how that process actually looked, and the experiences I've had, good and bad, this year with relation to this change specifically. I'm going to try to keep good posture because I noticed that in some of my podcast videos I progressively just slouch, and that's no bueno. You gotta have that good posture, especially, when I work from home. So it's I used to have pristine posture when I would go to work because I would feel like people can see me. But when you're at home just going on your phone, you can end up with a little hunchback. So we're trying to enter 2025 without a hunchback. No hate to those with hunchbacks. It is the vibe for sure, just not really my 2025 vibe, you know what I mean? I will do a podcast episode only whispered one of these days, but not this one, okay? Let's jump right in. So, I stopped drinking 1 year ago. I think the last time that I drank was on December 8th or 7th, and today's December 5th, and by the time you watch this, it's gonna be past 1 year. So, the reason that I decided to stop was because I actually wanted to stop for a long time before I actually made that decision. I am a person who has struggled with social anxiety, and a lot of that is around this weird tightness that I have when I'm around people, specifically groups of people. I just feel, and especially in the past, I have felt very just stiff, and that can make me come across as stuck up or aloof or mean, and it prevented me from creating the connections that I desired. And just more generally, it prevented me from enjoying myself when I would, go to like parties or social gatherings. So especially after I was 21, I would, start to use alcohol as a sort of social lubricant. And I would always pre-game events and dates and stuff like that, just to take the edge off and loosen up. Which, that's fine once in a while, but once it becomes mandatory and, you start to feel like you can't perform socially without it, that's kind of a red flag. So, yeah, I started for social issues, and, also, when I went through a big breakup in 2021, I started drinking a lot more then as well, and it just started being like a staple in my life. And it wasn't every day, but it was definitely every week, and I preferred to drink heavier things, like stronger things like vodka, because of calories and, just wanted to get the job done as efficiently as possible. But yeah, basically, I had a lot of experiences that were, we could call embarrassing. Like, I have gotten in fights before, and I have said things that I usually would not have just because I was under the influence. I have gotten involved in drama and toxic situations that, again, I would not have if I was not under the influence. And just generally, I was making a lot of impulsive and risky decisions when I was under the influence. And for me, that is out of character. I typically am a fairly cautious person. I do take calculated risks. I take risks that I know have a high reward, and I allow myself to do that. But the thing is like, you can't really calculate risks properly when you're blasted. So those risks it was not for any purpose, right? So yeah. I had a pretty strong drinking phase that lasted from, I would say, 21 to 24 when I stopped. And it was just part of my routine, part of my social stuff. And a lot of pretty much most social experiences that I engaged in, alcohol was a factor. So, what made me finally stop? Well, I tried to stop a handful of times. Tried meaning like maybe I'd go a week without and then just be like, it's fine, might as well. But the final time that I drank, to be honest, probably for about 2-3 months before this time, it was already starting to not work anymore. So I don't know, it wasn't because of my tolerance. Like, I wasn't drinking that often to build up that much of a tolerance. It wasn't hitting the same. It wasn't fun anymore. It just felt gross. Like my body felt like it was rejecting it more than usual. And I felt like I had lost this thing that used to bring me some level of comfort, and it no longer brought me that same feeling. And so I noticed that, but I still continued on indulging sometimes with it. And then December 7th or 8th or whenever, I was dyeing my hair, and dyeing my hair is so annoying. It takes forever, and I always do a crazy job, which is why I really need to get a hair appointment so I can stop doing it myself. But on this particular day, I decided that drinking would be a fun lubricant to make the hair dyeing process go by faster. And so I started drinking. And then I got on the phone with my friend, and we decided to hang out. And I don't know, that night was very chaotic. Again, I did an even more horrible than usual job on my hair. And because my friend was coming over, I wanted to look semi-presentable. So I tried to do my makeup. I did it horribly because at that point I was already drunk. My friend came over. That was fine, we hung out. They were very caring and sweet and nice, but I don't know, the conversation just got really dark on my end. Like I was saying a lot of really depressing things, and I wrote something in my notes that is just super sad and depressing. And it was like a statement, something that I do not believe, but it was really depressing and sad. And so basically the next morning when I woke up, I felt horrible, just my body felt horrible. And then when I was looking at my phone, I saw that super depressing statement that I had written that I had thought was so funny and true the night before. And for some reason, that just did it for me. And if you're wondering why I'm not saying this statement, it's because it's related to ending one's own life. And I just think that it's a very negative statement that I don't even want to put out there, okay? But yeah, seeing that in my own notes app, that I wrote that myself the night before, that made me feel highly uncomfortable, and that just pushed me over the line. So I got rid of my alcohol, and I decided that I was done. And it was very final, very just like, I've had enough. And I decided that week to just focus on myself instead of trying to focus on social engagements and meeting people, or doing things outside of myself. Instead, I just focused on waking up every day, making my bed, doing a workout, taking a shower, and doing my makeup. And just doing those things day after day made me feel like myself again. And just, even though those are very small things, it kind of put me back into this human routine. Because of course, when I used to drink, you drink, you have a crazy chaotic day or two, and then the next few days are spent recovering and just doing random stuff, you're not really in that same routine. So I did that, and then at the time I had been uploading spontaneously to my other YouTube channel, and so I had uploaded probably about 5-6 videos on there, and someone commented saying that I should try ASMR. So I decided to make an ASMR channel, and 1 week after I stopped drinking, I made this channel, and I just focused all of my energy into this, and that's what I've been doing this whole year, actually. So it was really fantastic for me because I had a distraction, a project, and something to be excited about and inspired by, instead of just, sitting there twiddling my thumbs or whatever. So yeah, it was very magical, honestly. Incredible, magical. But now I'm going to tell you the things that I've noticed that have changed. So these again are just things that I wrote down this morning. 1, priorities became clearer. When I would drink all the time, it kept me in kind of a befuddled state where I still had things that I wanted, but I was not moving in alignment. I might take 2 steps forward and then drink, go do some random adventures, and just fall completely on a side quest that has nothing to do with what I actually want. So obviously, once I had a sober mind and I'm just there sitting with myself, you start to really realize what you actually want. And for me, that started with those basics, those human routine basics, and then it expanded into including, projects and stuff like that. And kind of in the same vein, I went against my own vision / goals significantly less because I was making my choices intentionally instead of purely impulsively. I had a stronger will / did not reach back out to toxic people. Yeah, definitely made me respect myself a lot more, because back when I used to drink, there is something really fun about just getting drunk and calling that person you don't want to call, but you do want to call, or texting somebody, or hanging out with people that just, they aren't in alignment, but it's just so fun. And yeah, when you're sober, it's like, it's a lot harder to do those things that you can just feel this lack of self-respect if you do it. So you're not going to do it when you're sober, or you're going to do it a lot less. And yeah, that was the next thing on the list. More self-respect. I kept my word to myself. I also became celibate. That kind of naturally occurred because, again, it's like I stopped hanging out with people that were not in alignment with my vision, and I stopped doing things for no reason, and I reinvested my energy back into me. And I got higher standards in all areas, because for me, when I drink, I just have this really strong fuck it mentality. Like, I do not care, which can be very fun, of course, but it's not fun when years are passing and you just keep pressing that fuck it button, you know? Yeah, you might have a lot of fun adventures, but you're blasted, so you're not even going to remember it properly. And it just got to the point where it wasn't worth it anymore. More energy. I definitely have gotten a lot more energy this past year for a lot of reasons, not just this reason, but I have to imagine this was a big contributor, just logically. You know, if you drink toxins a handful of times a week versus not drinking toxins, you're probably going to have more energy not doing that. But I've also done a lot of like trauma healing and stuff like that this year. So as you release parts of your shadow and you integrate those parts into yourself, it releases a lot of weight that was holding you down. So that also has given me a lot of energy. I've also gotten more time and more days, because again, you know, that can knock out a large chunk of time just for one time of drinking. Or if it's like a continuous thing throughout the week, there's just a lot of time that goes missing, and it's not being invested towards my goals, and it's just being thrown away basically. Because again, the experiences I was having were not high quality. If they were high quality, then I could make the argument that, you know, it was worth it because I got to experience X, Y, or Z, but they were not. They were bad quality experiences, and so ultimately a waste. So yeah, I love having extra time, because that's how I'm able to even do this. That's how I'm able to do anything that I've been doing lately, because I have more time and more space. And I don't feel sick all the time. So, okay, let's talk about the negative. So, of course, remember, why did I even start drinking in the first place? Because I am awkward. And I get really stiff in social situations sometimes. So, basically, what I needed is to learn how to loosen up in the presence of other people without taking toxins to do that. So, obviously, at first, it was very noticeable, the difference for me. Especially like later on, when I did start doing some little social things and I went on a few dates and stuff like that. It was terrifying, because I was so used to just pre-gaming it and getting all loose and getting into that fuck it mentality, where I would just show up, be crazy, be silly, be loose, be just very whatever. And now it was like I was being just shot back into this awkward shell where, I show up for a first date and I just feel like frozen, like it's hard for me to loosen up, like it takes a little while. So I will say most of it was in my head, because when I mentioned that to people, I was trying to explain like why I was being awkward. Pretty much always the response I got was like, "Oh, I didn't think you were being awkward. You seem perfectly normal and confident." So, I think a lot of it is just in my head, and a lot of it is just pre-jitters. Like before I go to a social engagement, I can just feel all that physical anxiety, but once I'm there and I kind of just settle into it, it's fine. So now I really have been impressed with myself as I get through social situations completely sober, and sometimes I even, handle them pretty well, if I do say so myself. So that makes me feel really impressed because I can take the credit for it now. Whereas, if I did act like really cool and confident in a social situation back when I used to drink, I couldn't really take the credit for that because it wasn't me. It was, blame it on the alcohol. So I appreciated being able to do that, and I still am. I'm still working on that. But also, it has made it so that the social experiences that I have are actually building me up, and they count for something. I'm building that social muscle, and I'm doing it intentionally so that I can get better, and it's not just throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks like it used to be with drinking. So, okay, so a big one is a lot less oversharing. So I know obviously on here you could say I overshare, but it's intentional, right? There's a lot that I don't share with you just because I haven't, I just don't want to at this point. I might in the future, but trust, I don't tell you everything. I do tell you a lot, and again, I do that with a sober mind, intentionally. I record videos, I edit them, and then I post them, which means I'm not telling you things on accident. I'm not blurting it out and then feeling like, oh, why did I say that? I do sometimes get, nervous sharing certain things. Oh my god, Dragon's back, the black cat. I haven't seen them in a couple days. It's this little black cat that wanders around the neighborhood. I named them Dragon. But anyways, so yeah, basically, I would, because I had that fuck it mentality, I would not have a good filter as far as what's appropriate to share and what's not appropriate. And so I definitely did overshare, as in, like, I would tell people, like, the first date, I would tell them intense traumatic situations I've experienced in detail. Not so much detail, but enough detail for it to be, like, disturbing. And that is not in alignment with my goals for me to just overshare at any time with people that I just met. So I don't do that now. If I do tell somebody something, it's more or less for a reason. Of course, I can still get caught up and just share maybe too much, but I can't really think of a situation where I did that lately. So yeah, I don't know. It's been a lot better. The next one says way less risky behavior or impulsivity, and we've kind of already touched on that. But yeah, there's no reason for me to do impulsive things anymore because I don't get caught up in the moment like that. I weigh out the consequences and I think about things, and if I do take a risk, it is intentional and I'm okay with the consequences. So there's been a lot less sabotage to my own life and my own progress. So it's really good. And then this one is everything I create I can feel good about knowing I made it of a sound mind. So I did used to make some content, especially adult content, when I was, so that is a problem because, okay, of course it helps get you, like, loosened up so you can, be creative, whatever. But the issue comes in, when you're sober again and you look at what you've created and you don't know how you feel about it because in a way it wasn't you who created it. It was your drunk alter ego. And that would cause a lot of anxiety for me because I would have this push and pull of not knowing really what I wanted or what this other alter ego wanted, and that gave me anxiety. But after I stopped drinking, I pulled it in, I reined it in, I took it easy for a while, and then let myself rediscover my creativity in lots of ways, with a sober and sound mind, which actually resulted in my opinion, way better creations. But also, every time I create something, I feel good. I feel like, okay, I made that, that's me, that's my life force that's going into it, and I stand by it. And so it kind of removes all of that anxiety, most of it. Another thing is I love spending time alone. So I always love spending time alone, but there's something about getting a couple drinks in you that will make you text and call whoever you can think of to spend time with you. And you just, at least for me, I would just compulsively reach out to people. Not that much. Like, honestly, I know a lot of people who do it way more than me, but still, I was doing it too much for my liking, because now I don't really reach out to people compulsively. Maybe once in a while, but again, I think about it before I do it, so it's more intentional. But I can go indefinite amounts of time without, hanging out with somebody or meeting somebody, and it's fine for me because I love spending time alone. It doesn't make me feel like sad like it would when I was drinking. And then we're almost done. We kind of touched on this before, but yeah, my healing journey has really popped off because I had the space to process a lot of old grief and trauma, and I'm still doing that. It's far from over. I don't think that sort of thing ever is completely over, but I've just made a lot of progress on that this year. I already said this, but I can back myself up. I stand by my actions, which leads into my last point, or my last thing, which is I take responsibility for my actions. Yeah, it's like the things that I do, I know that I'm doing it. I know that I'm choosing to do it. Whereas when you're drinking, there's a lot of victim mentality that can happen because, again, blame it on the alcohol. You can do numerous really crazy stuff and then just, you're not even lying when you say, like, I don't know what came over me. I don't know why I did that. That it didn't feel like me. It wasn't me. You're not even lying. Like, that's really how it feels. But it's really an awful way to live, where you feel like you're trying so hard, you're making this progress, but at any moment, this sneaky little drunk alter ego can come and mess everything up, and then you are stuck there having to handle the aftermath and go on an apology tour and just feel embarrassed. And it really sucks. So that's what I wrote down. There's probably way more things, but yeah, for now, I'm planning on continuing this journey indefinitely because I just, like, the only benefit was that social lubrication, and I've come a long way, even just with this channel and loosening up on camera. I have faith in myself that I can continue to loosen up and, be social without needing anything. It's not going to be easy, but I can do it. I can do hard things. So can you. And it's worth it. Literally, all of those reasons that I just stated are why it's worth it for me. And yeah. So I'm excited and I'm really grateful because it kind of felt like something that was just, I guess you could say, divinely inspired. It didn't even really feel like I had to force it. It felt just like a checkpoint, like this is the time where Miss Eden stops drinking toxins. So I was very lucky that it did not really feel like too much of a battle. I still had intrusive body urges for sure. Like I would get the idea or the physical craving of drinking, but because I had decided, it just wasn't even an option. It's kind of like if you get an intrusive thought but it's not in alignment with who you are, no matter how many times that thought pops up, you're not going to do it. You know, like if you're, I don't want to give examples, but like there are, you know what I mean. So that's that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you are doing really well. Oh yeah, by the way, I still have lots of friends who drink. It does not bother me when other people drink. You know, it's everybody has a different relationship with it, and I trust other people to handle their stuff, and I'm not going to be like getting up in people's business and telling them what's right for them or not. You know, different people have different paths, and you know, basically if you drink, I don't judge you. Like, I get it, girl, you're good. But I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, good posture. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that I said everything in the manner that I would desire, and I care about you. I'm sending you good energy, loving energy. Everything is working out for you. Everything is working out for me. And I will see you soon.